Okay, guys, we have a person that asked a question on the channel. I want you guys to help with this as well. Cruisin says, I have a 2011 Mazda CX-7, 130,000 miles. Took it to the shop, vibrating, 55 mile an hour, going uphill. What do you think it could be? Well, first of all, they specified uphill. So this means some type of load, right? And at 55 mile an hour, you should be in some type of overdrive gear, just cruising. This tells me that by them replacing the tie rod ends and aligning it, this wouldn't necessarily be a regular diagnosis. And then somebody responded with flat spots on the tires and stuff like that. Well, if that was the case, that vibration would be happening all the time. When you look at these situations, you have to look at them like a detective. To respond to something and say, well, that could be anything. Not in the specific situation the customer states. First, always listen to what the customer's saying. Always listen to what the person's asking. We like to think of vibrations and then all of a sudden discount everything else, and we just pick little keywords here and there. 55 mile an hour, cruising, going uphill. What do you think that could be? Torque converter lockup, right? Just had a customer in here not too long ago. 2014 Ford Explorer, and it was a 2017 Explorer I had not too long ago as well. Both of them at about 45, 55 mile an hour at cruising speed. When you'd slightly go uphill, all of a sudden the vehicle would start jaking and chirking like it was misfiring, like something in the front end was loose, and it was just, you could just feel the vibration throughout the vehicle. I thought to myself, wait a second. Actually, you can go back and find that video and see how I diagnosed it, because it was at another shop as well. And they told them, oh, something's wrong with the engine, if something's wrong with the suspension. No. Very specific characteristics. Now, I'm not saying I'm right on this situation, but I do have the scenario I'm comparing this to. The same thing happened at cruising speeds, slightly going uphill. All of a sudden, the vehicle would start shuddering, shaking in the front end. You'd almost feel like the whole front end was vibrating. You know, what the heck is wrong with this thing? Torque converter lockup. Come back here, grab IDS, jump out on a road test, go into the trans control module PCM settings, wherever it was at the time, and go into your torque converter lockup and turn it on and turn it off. So when you'd start to cruise and all of a sudden you start to go uphill, you'd start to feel that shudder, right? Well, turn around and go back and try it again. Turn the torque converter off. You turn the torque converter off, it's just a smooth sailing ride, no issues at all. Or you turn the torque converter off while it's in the middle of doing it, not let it get out of control. All of a sudden just smooth out, no problem at all. The torque converter was bad. And then when you pull the transmission out, you look at the input shaft seal, and then you look at the PTU, that's the four-wheel drive unit that's attached to the transmission, and it had a crack where one of the coolant lines go into it to keep the PTU cool. It had a cooler on it. It was an old police unit. That's what it was. Shudder at cruising speeds while going uphill, but no other time. It was a torque converter issue. That might be something to check as well.